Okay, first of all, a few remarks about the rig. If you looked at my other video, you might notice it looks a lot better. Just for general information, when I tried to make it look better, I tried car wax. That started taking my old paint off too much. So I backed off of that, and then I tried isopropyl alcohol. Major mistake. This area up here got very cloudy looking. In desperation, I tried what worked, which was, believe it or not, WD-40. Very light coating of it, cleaned this area up, brought these numbers out, and this logo about, I don't know, 5 times brighter. It's amazing. So just a little hint in case you've never tried it, WD-40. Okay, now we'll give you a real brief tutorial on how to tune one of these up. One thing I should point out, that turning this knob and this knob is about equivalent to using a manual tuner. But back when this was built, they called this a coupler. This is the capacitor in the Pi network right before the antenna. This is the one on the plate of the tube. You peak your grid and you dip your plate. But I'm going to tell you right now, the easiest thing to do with the way this needle jumps around is to have a separate watt meter of some kind. I have an MFJ, they're not that expensive, an 815 Delta. There's all kinds of watt meters and SWR meters out there. And that really makes it a much easier deal. So I'm connected through a dummy load, and what I'll do is I'll switch over to the dummy load and key the transmitter, which you have to use a key to trigger it with. It doesn't really have a tune switch. And I'll kind of show you how we tune this thing up. I've got a crystal for 7.054 in it at the moment. Okay, so the first thing I do is hit the grid, go to the dummy load, and hit the key, and what I want to do is maximize the reading on this meter. And that looks like about it. So then you switch down here. That switch is pretty stiff. And you adjust this for a dip in this meter. I'll actually be looking at the watt meter. It's easier. Uh-oh. I've only got 22 watts into a dummy load. That's interesting. Now, we'll play with the coupler. Okay, that brought it up to about 29. When I actually go into the antenna with this rig and touch it up, I get about 30 watts, you know, big deal, not much difference. It does settle down. Actually, they want you at about 110, according to the manual, but I don't know the condition of these tubes. And 30 watts out with 50 watts input is what they claimed. Is pretty good. So with that, I'll cut the video. I'll hook up to an antenna. I'll show you touching it up, and then we'll see if we can raise a QSO. Stand by. That was AJ4VD. So, there you go. The 1950-something transmitter, 30 watts, and we got all the way to Gainesville, which is probably less than 100 miles. That's okay. He didn't complain about the note, so it must sound all right. Anyway, we'll see if we can make something out of this for a video. And we'll sum it all up. I'll take one last look at the reverse beacon network. So, under the circumstances, I don't know what's going on with the band tonight, but it's sure weird. The other night I had 6 or 7 reports with this same rig, same antenna. And let's see, it says I'm running about 15 words a minute that time, the last report. And the greatest distance was Texas at 963 miles. So that's a story on that. And by the way, a shout out to all the guys who do the reverse beacon network and run the software for us. I really appreciate it. Use it quite often. One of these days I'm going to figure out how to get involved.